Hello, and welcome to Doris's Golf Club. Welcome to the bonus episode. Today, I'm going to be talking about the countdown to the crown, talking about Team Japan, and I'm also going to be talking a little bit more about the trip that I had to Keweenaw Mountain Lodge and how it went with golfing. So let me get right into it. Team Japan. You guys, I was looking up this team. It was really fascinating. I was talking with my husband and we were talking through the players and I realized I didn't really know who was on the team. And we were kind of talking through and he said, well, I assume that EY twins are on the team, right? And I said, well, I assume so. But then I said, well, I know Miyu will be on the team and Rio will be on the team. And then I said, well, wait, Mao should be on the team. And then I thought, well, is it just one of the EY twins? But I know both of them have won something this year. And then I realized, oh my goodness, I don't know. I've got to look up who is on the team. So I looked up who is on Team Japan this year. And here are the 4 players on Team Japan. It is Miyu Yamashita, as expected. It is Rio Takeda, as expected. It is Mao Saigo, as expected. And then Ayaka Furue. I don't know why I hadn't thought of her, but it is Ayaka Furue, and neither of the EY twins are on the team. So thinking back, the teams, the players are set based on, again, it's based on the Rolex World Rankings as of August 4th, 2025. So after the AIG Women's Open concluded, and that was our final major tournament. As you all recall, that was played at the Royal Porthcawl Golf Course there in Wales. And at the conclusion of that tournament, where all of the women placed in the Rolex rankings, that then determined which players would make the teams for the International Crown. And so at that time, I went back and looked, and as of August 4th, 2025, Yamashita had won that tournament. And so she had jumped up in the Rolex rankings. So at that time, she was number 6 in the world. Rio Takeda was 11th. Mao Saigo was 12th. Ayaka Furue was 21st. And then the EY twins were obviously lower. And so at that point, Ki was 29th and Chisato was 32nd. So close, but both of them were below Ayaka. Even today, it's a little bit closer between Ayaka and Aki, but still Aki is still below Ayaka. So it still would be that that same ranking, and those top 4 would still be the players, even if we looked at the rankings today. So it's interesting. A few things have switched. So Miyu is 6th today. Mao is 8th. Rio is 12th. Ayaka is 21st. So Mao and Rio have switched spots between August 4th and then today's ranking. And then Aki has moved up. She's now 24th. So she's a little bit closer to Ayaka's world ranking. And then Chisato has also raised just one ranking. So Chisato is 31st in the world. So the 4 players still would be the same from Japan, but this also starts to demonstrate, I hope you're starting to already see how competitive this Japanese team really is. Already, you're seeing the strength of this Japanese team. So I want to talk about each one of these players a little bit and let you know a little bit more about them. I know that I have talked about each one of them independently throughout the year quite a bit as I've gotten to know them. And in particular, several of these players have won tournaments. And so I have talked about them. And so I am aware that you all know these players probably fairly well, but let's just go through them each again and get to know them a little bit more before the International Crown. And then think of them as a team and how they'll kind of be playing as a team together. So let's start with our rankings. So we'll start from first down to the 4th ranked. So Miyu Yamashita As I said, she is currently ranked number 6 in the world with the Rolex rankings. So, a little bit about her. She is 24 years old. If you recall, she had her 24th birthday during the AIG Women's Open. And while I was there in Wales, I saw during one of the press conferences, they were giving her a cake, which was very sweet. And so she did have her 24th birthday there. So, just there in August. It was interesting. I was looking at the JLPGA website because all of these women do also play on the Japanese LPGA tour. When I had described the JLPGA website, one of the things that I had found on there that I kind of thought was, I don't know, unique, just different than the information we have on the LPGA website. Under their profile, they had height, weight, and then blood type. So I did note everyone's height and blood type. I didn't note their weight, but for Miyu's height, I know she's very short. If you've ever seen her in tournaments, if you've gone to any tournaments, or I'm sure it comes across this way on TV, but she is very short, very petite, little, very cute. So she is 150 centimeters tall, which evens out to about 4'11", 4 feet 11 inches. So she is very short, and her blood type is A, which I thought was funny. I mean, I don't really know much about blood types. Again, I can't ever even remember my own. I probably should know my blood type, but it's just one of those things. I'm not sure why they have it listed there on their profile, but they each had it. So I thought you all might want to know. There you go. So, Miyu with the JLPGA, she turned professional there in 2020. And so she just joined the LPGA this year in 2025. So she is a rookie this year, but she has been playing with the JLPGA as a professional since 2020. And so, again, while she's considered a rookie here this year, she has already been doing amazing things with the JLPGA. So, already since 2020, she has won with the JLPGA 13 times already, and 3 of them have been major championships. So, I mean, come on. She's already been doing absolutely incredible things. 2022 and 2023 with the JLPGA, she had earned Player of the Year honors awards. And so that was very impressive. And in both 2022 and 2023 with the JLPGA, she was the leading money winner with the JLPGA. Man, you is impressive. Really impressive. Again, we know her as a rookie. She kind of seems like she's come out of nowhere, for us with the LPGA this year. But phew, she has been doing absolutely amazing things with the JLPGA. So, as I already said, she's already ranked number 6 in the world. She has already won a major tournament with the LPGA. That was the AIG Women's Open there in Wales this year. And man, her victory there was so impressive. I hope you all watched at the time and listened to my episodes then. If you haven't, please go back and listen. She was so calm and cool under pressure. Those conditions there with the wind changing each day, with Charlie Hull really pushing and coming up behind her and really, and several other people those last couple days. And with the home crowd there, really rooting Charlie Hull on. I mean, Miyu she just did her thing, and she kept her lead, and she just won. I mean, it was spectacular what she did. And even some of the shots where she would just, kind of hit a bad shot and everyone's like, oh, okay, this is where she's going to drop something, we're going to have, an actual gain here. And maybe Charlie can, pull it out. And then no, she would have this amazing putt. She would save things. Miyu would save these pretty, not always bad strokes, but iffy strokes with her putting. Her putting is incredible. So, she is really one to watch out for on this team. Anyway, so like I said, she is going to be a formidable opponent. So calm and cool under pressure. And I, you know, obviously I haven't seen her in any team events, but as a player independently, she's amazing. All right, number 2 is Rio Takeda. I love Rio Takeda. I think you all know that I love Rio. I've rooted for her a lot. Rio is 22 years old from the JLPGA website. So she's our tallest player on the team. She is 166 centimeters tall. That's about 5'5". And her blood type is O. Now, I don't know if they didn't put negative or positive, so I'm not sure about if she's O negative or O positive. And same with the others. But, this is at least a little bit of good information about all of their blood types. Okay. Rio is very interesting. She has a family history of golf. I think I had mentioned this on some previous podcast, but I just love it. So both her mother and her aunt had been professional golfers. And her mom had played, I think, just with the JLPGA. But then her aunt had actually won 18 times on the JLPGA and once on the LPGA tour. And that, I think, was in 1996. So her aunt between 1989 and the year 2000 had her 18 wins. So yeah, Rio really comes from a very impressive women's golf background. So I kind of liked that tidbit about Rio's family and background. So Rio turned professional in 2022 when she joined the JLPGA. And then similar to Miyu, Rio is a rookie with the LPGA this year in 2025. Now, Rio had won a tournament in 2024. She had won an LPGA tournament. She had actually won the Toto Japan Classic, which is a co-sanctioned event between the JLPGA and the LPGA. And when she won that, she could have become an LPGA tour member, but she had deferred her membership until 2025. So technically, although she has she had a previous win with the LPGA tour, her first official win during this rookie year was the Blu-ray LPGA Championship this year. So she's had a win this year during her official rookie year. Now, with the JLPGA, similar to Miyu, Rio had won 8 times already with the JLPGA Tour, and that includes that co-sanctioned event with the Toto Japan Classic. And she actually made 6 LPGA Tour starts with different LPGA tournament events before she joined officially the LPGA Tour in 2025. And 4 of those were major championships. So to even be invited to those major championships, it shows that she had been doing really well on the JLPGA. So, I mean, like I said, like Miyu, she's already had a very successful career with the JLPGA before officially joining the LPGA. And then already this year, her rookie year, she's already won a tournament with the LPGA. And as you know, I really have been rooting for Rio throughout this year. I also got my picture with her. I have had it taken twice during 2 of the tournaments when I have seen her. She is very cute, very nice. I took it with her, let's see, it was the US Women's Open there at Erin Hills. She was so kind, and I think she was very pleased that there was an American who was rooting for her and asking for her picture to be taken and cheering for her there in the autograph line. And so that was my first picture with her. And then when I was there in Wales at the AIG Women's Open, I waited again in the line or kind of the autograph zone after she was done playing on Saturday and asked to get my picture with her. And so I got my picture with her a second time. Rio is just, I really like her. I really like watching her. She's another that eh, she's very, very calm, present. She's also, I really appreciate it, she's a very quick player. Miyu is a little bit slower, takes her time a little bit more, but Rio is quick. She's very decisive. She has done her practice shots while waiting for someone else. And so then when it is time for her, she just hits the ball. I really appreciate it. So I like watching Rio play. I really like her. All right. But like I said, even though I love Rio, I am not rooting for her. I am rooting for the Americans to win. It doesn't matter how many pictures I have taken with Rio. It doesn't matter how cute I think she is. I am not rooting for her to win this international crown. I am rooting for the American team. I want to get that on the record. All right. Let's move on to Mao Saigo. Mao was born in 2001. She is 23 years old. She will be 24 years old very soon on October 8th. So she will just have turned 24 years old right before our international crown. I did learn she's 158 centimeters tall, which is about 5'2", and her blood type is AB. This just cracks me up. Okay, so Mao has been with the LPGA since 2024, and as you all know, Mao Saigo won the Chevron Championship this year, which, as you also know, is a major tournament. It was the first of our 5. And Mao Saigo won it in dramatic fashion. It was a 5-way playoff. It was incredible to watch. It was so much fun. And as you also know, Mao is my sister-in-law's favorite player. Mao is also very fun to watch. She is also very decisive. She just takes charge. She kind of marches down the fairway. She just does her thing. I also very much like Mao. However, I'm not rooting for Mao, even though she is very fun to watch. Okay, so similar to the other 2 women, Mao also has been part of the JLPGA prior to joining the LPGA. And Mao joined the JLPGA Tour in 2020. And notably, in 2022, Mao won 5 tournaments during that season alone. And also notably, she has competed in every or each major championship, not every major, but each major championship. So she, in 2022 and 2023, competed in the U.S. Women's Open. Also, in 2022 and 2023, she competed in the KPMG Women's PGA Championship. In the AIG Women's Open, she competed also in 2022 and 2023. And then in the Amundi Evian Championship and the Chevron Championship, she competed in both of those in 2023. Now, I'm saying that this is notable because these are all prior to her joining the LPGA. So she was playing well enough in the JLPGA to be invited into these tournaments. And so then, of course, once she joined the LPGA as a professional, then, of course, she has been competing in those tournaments. But this is really impressive for her to not actually be a member of the LPGA and to have been competing in those major championships prior to even being a member. So, like the other 2 women, she has a very impressive career already. And then since joining the LPGA, to have already won a major tournament is very impressive. All right, 4th, Ayaka Furue. So she is the oldest of this group, but not by much. She is 25 years old. Ayaka is 153 centimeters tall, so just over 5 feet. And her blood type is O. So Ayaka has been with the LPGA also the longest of this group. She has been with the LPGA since 2022. So she's actually had the most experience of the 4 women playing with the LPGA. Again, prior to joining the LPGA, she was on the JLPGA, but only for a few years. She had joined there in 2019. And while on the JLPGA, even though she was only there, a few years before joining the LPGA, she already won 8 times before joining the LPGA. And she was the Player of the Year on the JLPGA, the 2020-2021 Player of the Year there on the JLPGA. She also, since joining the LPGA, Ayaka was a member of the 2023 International Crown team, so she does have that experience with the LPGA during this team event, this specific International Crown team event. And she has, since joining the LPGA Tour, she has won 2 tournaments. One of them was a major. She won the 2024 Evian Championship. So this is really interesting. And I do just want to note here, when she won the Evian Championship, Ayaka was just the 4th ever Japanese player to win a major tournament with the LPGA. That was in 2024. Now, we're in 2025 at the end of we've already, finished our majors for the year in 2025. And this year, 2 of our major tournaments were won by Japanese players. Both Mao Saigo and Miyu Yamashita won major tournaments this year. So that's incredible. And I want to pause. Of our 4 Japanese players here on this team, 3 of them have won major tournaments with the LPGA, 3 out of 4. And 2 of these players are rookies this year. I mean, just think about that. Like, we're talking about, I was talking last time with the American players and talking through and describing how hard it is to even win a tournament, let alone a major tournament. Guys, these Japanese players are good. They are really good. I'm getting a little concerned. All right. And here's the thing. So normally, if they would just be okay, we have 2 rookies and Mao, has been with the LPGA since 2024. And, our most seasoned player here with Ayaka, she's only been with the LPGA since 2022. That would be one thing. But like I have described, these women, they're not new players and they're not new professional players because they have all had much more extended careers with the JLPGA prior to coming to the LPGA. So looking at them as a team, man, they have a lot of experience. And they have a lot of experience. Prior to coming to the LPGA, they already on the LPGA Tour have amazing experience with what they have won. And I think playing together, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I think these women know each other. I think they've been playing together. Again, seeing Miyu, how she won the AIG Women's Open, even seeing her and Rio and how they were doing, under all the pressure that they have, they are just really cool and collected. I think in this team event, and even with this kind of hectic, crazy, wild environment that I'm expecting, I think that they're going to do really well. And I think that they're going to do really well under this pressure. So I don't know. I think that this is really going to be a team to watch. So we'll see. We will see. Like I said, not rooting for them. Even though I like them very much. I'm not rooting for them. Rooting for the Americans. I want the American team to win, but I'm a bit worried about this team. Okay, so that is our Japanese team. Those are our 4 players. I also just wanted to say, as a reminder about Ayaka, she usually does wear very bright clothes. And her fan club, if you will recall, I think both at, you know what? I don't know that I saw them at Royal Porthcawl, but I did see them, of course, at the Chevron Championship. That's where I first saw her fan club. And then again at Erin Hills at the US Women's Open. Her fan club is so cute. They had these little kind of banners, almost like towel banners, I think. Or maybe they were just small little banners they unrolled. So every time she would hit, and they would just follow her around. And what made them so cute is they were silent. They were a silent fan club. They didn't cheer. They just unrolled their banners basically every time she would hit. And I don't know if they were hoping that the cameras would get on them or if they just hoped that she would see them. I'm not sure, but I really liked them. There were about 2 to 3, maybe 4 people max kind of following her around, and they just unrolled their little banner. I liked it. I really liked it. And yeah, I saw that group at least two different well, at two different tournaments. I've only been to 3, but you know. Anyway. I don't know. I mean, you go from a silent fan club to maybe what's expected here at the International Crown. Maybe with that much craziness, maybe that's what will get to the Japanese players. Maybe they won't be able to stay calm and cool and collected if things are that hectic. I don't know. Although I've heard that in Japan, the fan club is crazy too. So maybe they are more used to that. I've just got to get out here to all these different countries and see what their events are like so that I can be talking from experience, from personal experience. So, yeah, Korea's next. Sometime I've got to get out to Japan and see some of these Japanese tournaments. Ugh, I could take the bullet train all over. Okay, I'm getting off track as usual, but that is our Japanese team. They're really ones to watch. Okay, next, let me talk about our fantastic trip to Keweenaw Mountain Lodge. I had mentioned it during the last podcast and just told you how delightful the trip was and how peaceful and calm and quiet it was out there, and how the leaves were changing colors and how the weather was so beautiful and how we got some golf in and how it just was such a relaxing trip. I want to tell you more about the fantastic golf there and just the trip overall. So, just in case you're looking it up, Keweenaw is spelled Keweenaw, Keweenaw Mountain Lodge. And it is a fantastic wilderness resort there, like I said, in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And it is up near Copper Harbor, little tiny town in the peninsula jutting up into Lake Superior, and just beautiful. And so if you go to their website, you can read all about the mountain lodge and more about the golf course and the other wonderful activities that they have there at Keweenaw Mountain Lodge. But I do just want to note, so a couple things. They are, from their website, they say, we are a quiet place. They're an international dark sky park, and their focus is getting people closer to nature. I mean, what's not to like? So part of what it is about being a dark sky park, just in case you don't know, they have really focused on reducing their light pollution. And so they have, at night, they have the red lights, like all around the golf course and around the trails and things. They've reduced like all the cabin lights and the exterior lights. And then they have the red lights if you go out and walk, so that you can kind of see. But it's also, the dim lights. And if you're going out for any kind of nighttime photography or anything like that, the red light is better for any photography. And so they really have reduced light pollution. And so views of the stars and the night sky are just really fantastic. And some of the events that they do have a lot of is different photography groups will come and have events where they will have groups that come and do photography. And then they have different spots out along the golf course where you can actually go and view the stars. I think the aurora has been really good there sometimes. Anyway, go to their website. You can see the events that they've had. But it's just a fantastic, fantastic place. They encourage you, like during the day, to go walk around the trails and the golf course to get familiar during the day, so that if you do go out at night, you have some idea of kind of where you're going, because they do keep it very, very dark, which is lovely. Anyway, like I said, go to their website. It's fantastic and describes all the different activities that they have. But one of the activities is their golf course. And like they say, it's just one of the activities. It's not just, a place that you go only to golf. That is just one of the outdoor activities that they offer. And like I had mentioned last time, it used to be an 18-hole golf course. It's now just a 9-hole golf course. And then the back 9, those kind of back 9 holes have been turned into various trails and, hiking and cross-country ski and different paths and things. And so it's just a 9-hole golf course now. And they really have tried to kind of restore it to what it used to be like back in the day. So this mountain lodge dates back to 1934, and it is on the state and national historic registers. So it's a really cool, very old lodge. And so the golf course itself, they, have a lot of really cool old pictures of people out on the golf course. And so they know, like what it looked like through the years. And they've tried to restore it back, to what it used to be like. And then really try to make it much more environmentally friendly, environmentally conscious, and focus on, again, back to nature, focusing on making it part of nature so that things like, being conscious of the amount of water that's used, the amount of fertilizer or pesticides or things like that. And so bringing back a lot of native plants or just native grasses. And so bringing back, getting a lot of the birds that used to be around, bringing back the plants and things that, the bugs will come back and the birds will come back and then the deer will come back and a lot of the flora and fauna, bringing it back to the way it used to be and encouraging all of the nature, to kind of come back to what it used to be. And so they do talk about the golf course itself, is not necessarily what people might be used to in other spots. They do mention how, the rough is rough. And like the fairways, they say, they do have what people consider weeds in the fairways. There are dandelions, there's clover, there's stuff like that. And like basically they don't have any I guess hazards, there aren't sand traps, there aren't things like that. But because outside of the fairway, it's the natural, I not necessarily prairie grasses, but like the, wildflowers and the different natural grasses and things. So if you don't hit it in the fairway, it's going to be a hazard. Like it's very difficult to get out of that. And especially for someone who is not a good golfer. Like the first day we went, we were all trying. So it was my husband and my dad and me, and we were all trying to. We were like, we're gonna, definitely if we hit it, off the fairway, we're gonna try to hit it, back on. We're gonna hit it wherever it is. And then the second day we went, we're like, no, we're gonna try to find the ball, and then we're gonna take a drop back on the fairway, and we may or may not even count that as a stroke. So, because I mean, it was one of those things where you're like, you're there and you're trying to hit it, and the ball may go, I don't know, it may kind of pop like a foot, if that, and then you're just hitting it and trying to get it back in the fairway. Like, it's really challenging if you get it off the fairway. Okay, so they also talk about, and I thought this was fascinating. So the greens, one of the things about that can help them, not use as many chemicals is with the greens, if they don't cut them as short, then you don't have to use as many chemicals. And so they said they cut their greens at 3/16 of an inch. And urban golf courses cut their greens to 1/8 of an inch or lower. And so their greens run. Remember how I talked about the stimp meter and the stimp rating and what those numbers mean? So I'm going to tell you this and you'll know. They say their goal is to have the greens running around 7 to 7.5, whereas if you play somewhere else, you might be accustomed to 8, 9, 10, 11, or even 12 greens. Now, you all know what that means. They're saying that their greens, are a little slower, right? Right? Okay. So I thought that was fascinating because when we were playing, we felt like the greens were really fast. Probably because we're not very good. Oh, man. And this was also really interesting because they said the speed of the greens back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s would be around 4 to 6 on the stimp meter. I didn't realize that things were that slow back in the day and how much they have sped up over time. That's really interesting though, because I guess it makes sense like everything else with like people improving their game. What are you going to do to keep things competitive? Well, you're going to speed up the green, right? I mean, that makes sense. So I thought that was very interesting. So, but what they do, their kind of philosophy is, they might have a slower green, but what they wanna do is make sure the greens are consistently smooth between green to green. And so even if it's, "slower," quote unquote, they want it from green to green to be consistently smooth so that you're having essentially the same speed between green to green. And so that's what they're wanting rather than, um having bounces and different things between the greens. And so that's their goal is to really focus on that smoothness and that consistency between each green. And of course, they have a practice green at the very front so that you can get used to it if you need to. But, again, it's all this very intentional, thought out process. And, again, reducing the chemicals that they have to use, reducing the amount, I think the amount of times that they have to mow, all kinds of different things that go into making it more of an environmentally friendly, eco-conscious golf course. I told you about the fairways. And the fairways are bumpy. They are rough. It was very interesting. Again, the difference between, and you always hear this, the difference between just going out to your driving range and hitting balls versus actually golfing. Like, oh my goodness, every single time I would hit the ball and then like off the tee and then like go to hit my second shot, like I I would have like one leg up, like my right leg up and then I'm hunched over and like try because of the way the fairway was or like my ball would be way above my feet or my feet would be way above my ball and my ball would be very low or I would be standing in all of these very weird angles and it was challenging and fun. Like that's how you learn how to golf. That's how you learn how to improve. And I kept thinking like this is why I have to get out and actually golf more. Doesn't matter where I go, doesn't matter how I do. It doesn't matter. Like I've just got to get out and do it because that's how you'll improve. Until you're in those kinds of situations, like eh, having the flat, whatever kind of turf or non-turf or whatever you are at the driving range, that's not gonna teach you how to do all of these real conditions. So, it was a lot of fun because I'm like, "Ah, this is the kind of stuff I see on TV when I see the LPGA players or when I'm at the tournament and all of a sudden I see one of them." It's usually, like, in a bunker or something, but, like, some of the positions that they get in and the shots that they have to handle, it's so much fun to be watching them do that, and then I really felt like I was in the same kind of situation where, I'm, like, in these awkward angles and trying to figure out how I'm gonna hit the ball. It was a lot of fun. Anyway, so yeah, I'm trying to think what else. So, they brought back the wooden flag sticks and back, the ones that are I don't know how tall they are, like, I don't know, maybe 5 feet or something. They're the short flag sticks, like, back in the day that they used to have. So they're really cool looking. So, because they're trying to really go back, back in the day and to this wilderness type golf course, uh, they with these older flag sticks that are very short, they're wooden. They also have focused on because of the wilderness golf course aesthetic, they have very little man-made anything man-made on the golf course. So they only have the flag sticks, and then they have the mown, cart paths, and then a few paved cart paths, but they have no tee markers, and they have no signage. It's really fantastic. Like you're just out there. And the way that you know where your tee boxes are or what hole, you just have your map. You have your scorecard, and then on the other side, you have your map, and it shows you where the various tee boxes are. And so you can find them, it's easy to find them, and you can decide which one you're going to tee off at. And it's really lovely. Like it's this intentional, well thought out, mindful way of designing, or kind of, I guess, bringing back this golf course back to what it was. And it's just a really nice, relaxing aesthetic. Oh, I love this golf course. So we had gone last year about the same time. That was the first time we had gone. And when the owner there was describing the course to us and going through a lot of this, I was just kind of learning about golf and learning about some of this stuff. And I loved his description about the golf course and about everything. And at the time, I think I've told you all this, but at the time, he was describing the golf course as, a no anxiety, no stress golf course. And it was like, oh, that sounds so fantastic. That's just what we need because we don't really know how to play. And my husband said, oh, it's okay. Of course, he's saying this about me. It's okay. She takes her anxiety around with her. And of course, what's so sad is that I do take my anxiety around with me, but especially when I'm playing golf. Oh my goodness. But I will tell you what, that has stuck with me. And going back, it's true. This is a no stress golf course. The only stress is whatever you decide to bring with you. If you decide to be stressed and angry as you're going around, that's fine. But then you can also just kind of take a deep breath and relax. So part of what I was trying to think, what exactly makes this low stress, no anxiety? Part of it is the nature and the focus on the nature and the actual environment that you are in. I love not having the signs. I love not having it's just you are completely in nature. When you're going around to these 9 holes, you feel like you are in the middle of nowhere. No one's around you. You can't see back, to the main lodge. You're just truly out in nature, and it feels really good. Also, they set their tee times 20 minutes apart. So even if they had back-to-back bookings, which they didn't either time we went, but even if they did have back-to-back bookings, 20 minutes apart rather than the 10 minutes apart that I see other golf courses having. 10 minutes? Are you kidding me? For someone who is a beginner like me and who is so slow and who is hitting it every which way and takes, I don't know, sometimes 10 to 15 hits to get it in the hole on a par 4 or 5. I mean, guys, I'm serious. I mean, now a lot of those may be my putts, but come on. It's taking me forever to even get to the green. If someone is 10 minutes behind me, I would be letting everyone play through. I would never get done with a hole. Think about how much stress and anxiety that produces. Oh, I'm just thinking about it. 20-minute tee times. And even when there was someone booked ahead of us, we were like, oh, okay, well, let's book out because we don't want anyone rushing. We don't want to be affecting anyone else. It is that kind of golf course. It is so lovely. And while you're out there, we saw so many birds. I told you there are so many geese out there, and we kept yelling for at the geese because there were times we all were getting much better on our second day where, we took longer on our second day, but we actually were hitting better. And I don't know why. I think I was taking more videos and pictures the second day, so that must have been why we took longer. But we all were hitting much better shots. We had much more control our second day. There was actually one hole that I bogeyed. I couldn't believe it. I was so proud of myself. I think each one of us, there was at least one hole that we bogeyed. I mean, that is profoundly good for us. Anyway, but there was a point where these geese, well, we could have hit them, mainly because we can't control really where our ball is going. And there were so many geese. And so we would hit and we would yell, 4 geese, 4. And basically, at most, they were either ignoring us or just freezing. They would freeze. And we're like, geese? They never got hit. They really were not concerned at all. But man, they were so funny. And I tell you what, these were the friendliest geese that I have ever met. Usually geese can be very scary. They hiss at you. Some of them can charge you. If you know geese, you know what I'm talking about. These were the friendliest geese, and I think some of them might have been young. Some of them were doing that cute little almost popping sound that kind of turkeys will do sometimes, and it was the sweetest little sound. If I took video, I don't know if the sound will, if you can hear the sound, but if so, I don't know. I'm going to try to post some of this maybe. It was so sweet. The geese were just so kind. And there was one point where I hit the ball and probably the most movement was like, so there were some hills on the fairway and I just saw a goose's neck, like kind of look up. It was so funny. And then I was walking up and it kind of looked like, I was wondering if they were going to kind of sit on the ball like it was an egg. It kind of looked like that. So this is the kind of stuff that's going on the golf course. I mean, there were these geese. We saw all these northern flickers. Later, I saw a pileated woodpecker. I mean, those are those giant woodpeckers. I mean, they're fantastic. Like I said, there were deer out just munching on things. Wild turkeys are walking across the fairway. Oh, I saw these fantastic little tiny slugs on the green. I was getting all these little videos of these slugs because, their slime would show up in the sun. It was so beautiful. Oh, I don't know. It was the most delightful experience. It just, I could go on and on, but talk about being in nature. And the weather was so perfect. I highly, highly recommend. Please, if you are interested in just the most relaxing, the most fantastic golf, please think about Keweenaw Mountain Lodge. It was a fantastic trip. Really, really, really loved the golf. Like I said, the way that we did our 18 holes was over 2 days with a day in between to rest. I was walking the course though, by the way. I walked the course. I had my push cart. My dad had an actual golf cart. And so he was riding in the golf cart and then Chris and I were walking. But so yeah, I walked 18 holes. Now, again, over 2 days, but a lot of good exercise. And I really felt like I was getting to know the course. It was a lot of fun. Okay, I think that's it. So next week, guys, I am going to be talking about the home team. I'm going to be talking about Team Korea. So that is going to be our countdown to the crown. I'm going to be focusing on Team Korea and telling you all about the players for the home team. I'm really excited. I just can't even remember who's on each team. So it's kind of a fun surprise for me to be doing this research. And you all, I'm really going to need to be planning this trip. It's coming up so soon, and I've got to plan the other things that my husband and I are going to be doing. We were talking about we definitely want to go to some temples. I know there's good hiking around Seoul. I also, the Koreans really, at least in all of the shows that I watch, they really love their chicken and beer, their fried chicken and beer restaurants or their little places that they go. I'm a vegetarian, and I was thinking, I bet that they have like some fake fried chicken, like tofu or something. And I was looking it up and I think that there are some places. So if you know anything about good vegetarian or vegan restaurants in Seoul, any places that have vegetarian or vegan fried chicken, please tell me. Please send me a DM at Doris Golf Club. I would love to know. I can't wait. I can't wait to go shopping. I can't wait to buy a bunch of clothes. I can't wait to buy a bunch of beauty products. I can't wait to buy a bunch of earrings and jewelry. So also, if you know of good places, please DM me. I think we're probably going to have to take a bunch of suitcases or buy them, maybe a bunch of duffel bags or something, and just have them empty and bring them back full of stuff. I can't wait. I don't know. I bet they have a ton of like adorable, cute, like stuffed animals and things. I think I'll have to buy those. I'm so excited. So excited. Okay, so I've got to plan my trip to Korea, but next week I'm going to be focusing on Team Korea. And we have another tournament, again, not this weekend, it's the Ryder Cup, but next weekend we have an LPGA tournament. I believe it's the Lotte Championship in Hawaii. I think Lotte is maybe a Korean company. I'm not sure. I've seen it on a lot of people's hats and things as a sponsor, so I'll learn more about Lotte. So I will cover all that on Tuesday, and then I'll probably have to do another bonus episode to cover another team. I'll keep you all posted. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed today's bonus episode about Team Japan and golfing at Keweenaw Mountain Lodge. And until next time, bye.